In the world of contemporary art, few names carry as much weight as Frank Stella, a revolutionary figure whose innovative approach to abstraction transformed the landscape of modern art. And sadly, as you probably heard, he just recently passed away. His influence was vast, and he still has an impact on artists working today. So, I thought we should talk about him. Art lovers, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about Frank Stella, an artist who in his 80-plus years crossed stylistic genres, worked in multiple mediums, and inspired multiple generations. He was born in Massachusetts in 1936, and even in high school showed a passion for art. He would go on to study at Harvard, and it was here that his professors started to expose him to the dominant force in the art world of the day, abstract expressionism. And after graduating, he moved to New York City and dove headfirst into the art scene. From early on, he would focus on abstraction, but not just abstraction for abstraction's sake. He believed abstraction, and in particular geometric abstraction, could have a narrative. It wouldn't be a literal story, but the shapes and the interaction of the shapes and colors would give you a narrative sense. It was Jasper Johns who inspired one of his earliest and arguably most important series, the Black Paintings. These monochromatic works, characterized by their stark geometric forms and minimalist aesthetic, challenge the conventions of abstract expressionism and open the world up to the next great art movement, minimalism. They also mark the beginning of Stella's ascent to artistic prominence. In 1970, he became the youngest artist ever to be granted a solo exhibition at the Museum of Modern Art. And throughout the 1970s, Stella continued to push the boundaries of abstract art with his innovative use of shape, color, and texture. His Irregular Polygons series is characterized by the dynamic interplay of geometric forms and vibrant hues. These asymmetrical canvases seem to show a rigid, formulaic approach to abstraction, but the artist's hand is ever present. Many critics have expanded on the idea that Stella's shaped canvases abandon imagery ultimately to assert themselves purely as things, being simultaneously perfect and imperfect forms. Stella said, "Art is not about creating the perfect image, but about capturing the essence of a moment." He then started incorporating wood and other materials into his work, creating 3D reliefs that became more and more elaborate. This was essentially sculpture for the wall. Even his print work, which was a very important part of his practice, began to combine new and innovative techniques. His print work became so important to him that he had a print studio installed in his New York home. And in the 80s and 90s, he moved even further off the wall and embraced full three-dimensionality, culminating in freestanding sculpture made for public spaces and architectural projects. He created projects in places like Toronto, Miami, and Washington, D.C. In 2 months before his death, at the famed Jeffrey Deitch Gallery in New York City, he held his final solo exhibition, featuring his recent monumental sculptures. Reflective of his importance on the art world, it took double-wide flatbed trucks to navigate the bridges into Manhattan to transport these works to his show in Soho. The press release calls them some of his most ambitious works to date, and some of the most radical works made by any artist today. It continues, "They are not painted sculptures or relief paintings. They completely fuse painting and sculpture in a way that has never been achieved before." Stella said, "Good art is not what it looks like, but what it does to us." In these works, which he created after more than 6 decades of operating at the upper echelons of the art world, still do a lot. And you know I like to talk about the art market, so what's it take to get a genuine Stella in your home? I've heard that his new sculptures are priced in the $2 million range. And this might seem like a lot, which it is, but his later works have been a bit stagnant on the market, with many selling well below what Jeffrey Deitch is asking for the new work. Deitch does say that the production cost for the new work was extremely high. And of course, shutting down a bridge to get the work into the gallery in Manhattan had to have cost a pretty penny. But the strongest demand is for the early work. Sotheby's, Christie's, and Phillips all have early works coming up in their important evening sales, with prices ranging from $5 million to $18 million. And before you say they're just trying to capitalize on the artist's death, these catalogs were all put together before he passed away. But the beauty of Stella for most of us collectors is that because he was such a prolific printmaker and because his prints often relate to his painting practice, you can have a Stella for your own wall at a fraction of the cost of the paintings. Prices on the prints can range from $5,000 to $6,000 up to $20,000 plus. And since Stella's work over the years was so varied, you can really pick the style and color palette that best suits you. If you're into 20th century painting, you can check out more on this playlist I've created for you right here. My name is Christopher West. This is the channel where we talk all things modern and contemporary art and design. I want to give a shout out to one of my earliest subscribers, the Nash Villain, who suggested I do a video on Frank Stella. So if you like this or would like to see more, please consider leaving a comment and subscribing to the channel. As always, anyone still watching is a complete rock star. So thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Ciao.